Hi, I'm Felipe Flores, and I wanted to talk about, well, there's a phrase that I really like, and that's migration is beautiful. And that's a phrase that I can relate to because I've lived in Mexico and the US and Canada. And there's one special place out of all the places where I've lived that gives that meaning for me. I lived for 8 years in Santa Barbara County in California, and that's where I learned to really feel connected to nature. I grew up in Mexico City, which is a very smoggy city with lots of traffic, and so I didn't really feel connected to nature. And in Santa Barbara, I lived near this forest that was protected, and the forest was a place where monarch butterflies went to spend the winter every year. So monarch butterflies migrate all over Mexico and the US and Canada. And this was a place where I would go when I was really stressed out about school or about work. And I just remember walking through the forest and feeling the cool air and seeing the sun filtering through the trees. And then in the winter, there's this place where the butterflies hang out. And the first time I went, it was kind of cold, and there were so many butterflies that looked like they were leaves hanging off the trees until I started seeing that they were butterflies. And on warmer days, you would just see the butterflies flying around with their wings fluttering through the air, and they're orange and black with these little white dots. And it just made me feel really happy and peaceful to be in this really magical place. And I felt very inspired and calm seeing the butterflies. They were inspiring because they're so delicate, but at the same time, they're so resilient and determined because they migrate, they fly just thousands of miles every year to go from one place to another. And after some time, I started to just appreciate how we are interconnected because people had to fight to protect this forest from development so that they wouldn't build these big expensive houses there, and that it would be a place that was safe for the butterflies every year to spend the winter. And I just thought about how there are these really special animal that flies and migrates, and they're really unique. They're really different from us. And a lot of times we only think of humans as being important, but I just really started to realize how every animal and every creature is really valuable. And so in the years after that, I've seen how different activists like LGBT activists and immigration rights activists have used butterflies as a symbol, and especially monarch butterflies. And they use this message of migration is beautiful. And I think that's just so powerful. And it makes me think of how inspiring they are, the butterflies, and what would we do, as a culture if we didn't have them. But at the same time, they need our protection because they're threatened because of pesticides and deforestation. All of this makes me think that the environment is not just about nature, but it's also about where we live, and it's about how we interact with the world around us. And we really have the power through our actions to make big changes. So I think the monarch butterflies really make me feel inspired and make me think about my own life experience, but also taught me a lot about being responsible in the world that I live in.